I came with cameras and a plan to make the biggest viral horror upload of the year. The park was closed years ago, left to rot by the lake, but someone, or something, left behind a record that won't stop replaying itself. As I dig through broken rooms and old control boxes, screens begin to show things I never filmed. Voices I never heard. The watchers online are drawn in. The echo answers to attention. I kept recording. You should know, what I found can't be undone. Chapter 1, Gate and Gear. I stood under the shattered marquee as the sky went sour with clouds. The plan was simple. One camera on a tripod at the ticket booth, one-hand camera for roaming shots, and a backup just in case. I wanted the raw, unedited feel, the kind of footage people click on and won't stop watching. Hollow Park had been closed for years. The fence sagged. Nature had already begun the slow work of erasing the bright paint. Inside the ticket booth, I found an old VHS camcorder and a roll of unlabeled tape tucked in an oily cubby. The camcorder was dented, but the lens cap still clicked like it belonged to yesterday. I tested the batteries. The screen blinked to life and showed the inside of the booth, my shoulders reflected in a cracked glass shard. For a second I felt ridiculous, like an amateur ghost hunter. Then I realized the camcorder was recording a loop, a clip of empty booth footage that repeated every few minutes. Behind the booth, the parking lot's lone lamp flickered in time with the loop. I set up the tripod and left the camcorder recording the entrance. If anything showed up, I wanted to catch it from every angle. The first night's goal was simple: get the setup and capture B-roll, the slow pans, the empty rides, the peeling posters. The click of the camera shutter was louder than it should have been. Outside, the trees whispered like a crowd. Chapter 2, Playback and Pulse. That night I reviewed the footage. Most of it was what you'd expect. Empty rides, an echoing carousel, the whine of a broken generator. At 2:13 a.m., one camera caught a detail that didn't match what I had filmed. The tripod at the ticket booth recorded a brief frame where the booth's window showed a smear of something like a palm print pressed from the outside. I was sure I hadn't filmed that. I loaded the unlabeled tape into the old camcorder. The tape was full of short clips, each one looped and layered like someone had stacked them on purpose. Some clips recorded the exact layout of the park at different hours. Others showed angles the cameras couldn't have had. In one clip, the camera inside the mirror maze angled toward a corridor that didn't exist on the ground. The audio track held low human hums under the wind, and underneath that a rhythmic thumping that matched no machine I could identify. When I streamed a snippet live to test engagement, the chat exploded. The video pulled viewers like a magnet. People wrote words like re-upload and proof while timestamps rolled. Views spiked in minutes. Comments started to suggest times to watch. A username suggested I check the control room for something the tape kept pointing to. I went back to the park, drawn in by the attention as much as by the tape. Chapter 3, The Stream and the Signal. The stream changed everything. I uploaded one short clip as a teaser, and it blew up. Thousands of people poured into the live chat and stayed. The more people watched, the more anomalies appeared in the footage. Lights pulsed when viewers typed certain words. A blank screen would flicker to show a corridor no camera was pointed at. It felt like the park listened to the attention and fed on it. At 3:33 a.m., the chat collectively typed "look behind," and every camera feed briefly showed a smear moving like a slow handprint across a window that had been cleaned before. One viewer even claimed the smear left a faint echo in their audio, a layered breathing under the stream that no one on my team could hear, but many swore they did. Views climbed into the millions. Strangers debated whether it was an elaborate hoax. Some suggested it was marketing. Others swore they saw forms in the dark that were not cameras, not human. The park's power grid hiccuped in sync with spikes in viewer count. Lights that had been off since the closure pulsed briefly, enough to show an old marquee sign flicker to life for one heartbeat. The chat went silent a few seconds later, the kind of pause that everyone online felt even if they weren't watching. The stream recorded it all, and the file kept playing that heartbeat on repeat when I rewatched it. Chapter 4, Close and Cold. The night sharpened. The park grew colder in pockets, like someone had opened doors to rooms that didn't belong to the same temperature. I started to see my own footage altered in ways no editor could explain. Frames shifted, and on one monitor my tripod showed a boot print where I had placed none. Once, as I walked past the mirror maze, my breath caught at the sight of a hallway that slanted wrong in reflection. The maze showed a passage behind me that wasn't there when I turned. When the camp chat demanded proof, I gave them everything, and they gave me something back. A user suggested an exact timestamp. At that time, every camera caught a faint shadowy limb stretching across the floor like a slow tide. The limb left a residue on the wood that smelled like cold iron. My skin lifted in goose flesh as I watched the recording with my hands planted on the console. I could feel eyes in the park even when I was alone. The cameras recorded static that answered noise with pattern, as if listening for language. I slept poorly, if at all. Each time I woke and checked footage, something had shifted. The park had become an organism that adjusted itself to the attention it received. And the more my audience asked questions, the more the park answered with movement. Chapter 5: Records and Rumors. I found an old ledger beneath a rotting concession stand counter. The ledger had names crossed out in neat script and dates that matched times when the park had been busy. Tucked between pages were Polaroids torn nearly in half. The photos were mostly of happy crowds, but one photo showed a stage with a dark smear in front of it. The smear curved like a mouth and stopped at the edge of the photo, as if something had been cut out. Online, strangers dug deeper. They matched dates to road reports, to service logs. A chain of forum posts linked the park to a string of disappearances that had never been solved. Each discovery seemed to make the tape play differently. Threads that were skeptical turned frantic when a user uploaded spectral enhancements that brought out shapes and grainy frames. One chart plotted viewer spikes against the appearance of new smears. The correlation was too tight to be coincidence. I had started this for clicks, for a video that would pull in millions. The currency of attention had become the park's fuel. I couldn't stop. The audience would not let me stop. With every click, the park dug deeper into its memory and offered me new scraps of its past. Chapter 6: Upload and Afterglow. I hit upload on the full footage at dawn, expecting a spike and then the usual analytics. Instead, the file propagated like a rumor. Mirrored copies, clips chopped and shared, sound bites stitched into reaction videos, the echo spread. Overnight, strangers cataloged frames, mapped smears, and argued if the phenomenon required attention to exist. Some said ignoring it starved it. Others insisted it fed on how many eyes watched it. The night I left the park, a final clip had been added to the tape without my hands. It showed the booth empty, the tripod collapsed, my recorder still blinking. And in the last frame, the reflection in a shard of glass was wrong. It showed the booth from the outside looking in, as if something much closer had been there, watching the watchers. Now the comments never stop. Videos milestone notifications ping. People post timestamps and theories and prayer-like lists of things to try. I can no longer tell if the attention is keeping me safe or calling something else home. The echo answers to the upload. It listens. It wants more. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, give the video a like, comment your theories, and share the video with others.